Hey guys, welcome to my new survival world. Lately, I've been getting a few questions about the type of mods and resource packs that I use in order to enhance my vanilla survival world and make it look a little bit prettier. So today, I wanted to make a video for you guys going over all the mods and resource packs that I actually use in this survival world. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the resource packs I use. Now, over the years, I have used many different types of resource packs, texture packs, whatever you would like to call them. I've personally always preferred the default look. I think it encapsulates what Minecraft is a lot better than some of these high-end, ultra detailed texture packs. But there are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of to do with the default texture pack, mostly being just a really blocky text, and the UIs I think are a little bit hard on the eyes. As you can see, mine is like a dark UI. Now, I've changed all of this with a website called vanillatweaks.net. I'm sure you've heard of it. It allows you to alter the default texture pack with some new and improved and modern looks. If you look closely, there's something different about the sheep. The cows and the pigs. They walk different, they've got ears. This resource pack is called Fresh Animations, and as you can see, it speaks for itself. These are not the only examples. It basically adds a complete new overhaul to a lot of animations to do with mobs, and also adds a bunch of new varieties for hostile mobs. Cows, pigs, and sheep are not the only examples of what this mod does. As you can see, it overhauls basically everything. Everything's got a slightly more natural walk to it. My favorite is actually the spiders. If we run over here, now isn't that freaky? If we kill one, they actually die like a spider. They flip over and turn over, and the phantoms as well. Look at that. Look at that for flying animation. Just as a little side piece, if you're planning on using this mod and you're using sodium instead of Optifine, you'll have to download 2 extra mods for fresh animations to work. One being entity model features, and the second one being entity texture features. And on top of that, inside of the resource pack, just make sure that the FA plus all extensions is on top of the fresh animations. Otherwise, it doesn't quite work as intended. The next mod I want to talk about, it's called Better F3. And as you can imagine, it does pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It makes the F3 menu better. And as you can see, that is way better, way less clutter. And honestly, sometimes I end up playing for hours with it still on. You can actually customize what you want, the colors, basically every part about it that you could possibly want to change and add, you can do inside of here. If you were looking closely on the last part, you would have noticed the next mod we're about to talk about. It's called Blur. Quite simple. It adds a little blur to the background, just making the UI pop a little bit more. As you can see, it just adds a little blur and just makes the UI just a little bit more easier to look at. Now moving on to something that I think is absolutely well overdue, and I think we can all agree with this, it's an inventory update. These 2 mods allow you to move things around a little bit easier in your inventory and just overall, just better quality of life. The first one being item scroller. This has to be the one that I probably use the most, especially this feature, allowing you to just move entire inventory stacks around. There's also this one that I found out the other day. You can throw out entire chests full of worth of stuff. So if you have a bunch of things in a chest that you don't want in the chest, well, now they're no longer in the chest. Another feature being the let's try this again. So the other feature of item scroller that I use is mass crafting. So when I play Minecraft, I like to craft a lot of things. So rather than doing it like this, or, possibly taking our time and filling up the whole place, now you can see that's quite tedious. So item scroller adds this little menu, if you hold A, that you can now select a recipe, and then you can select a button to craft all of that one thing. So that just speeds up the crafting significantly rather than having to do this back and forth all the time. The other inventory mod I use is called Tweakeroo. You've probably heard of it before. The main feature of it I use is this little feature here, just allowing you to build off on the diagonals, along with, if you put it in the center, it places it like the block above. With these two mods, honestly, makes life 1000 times better. If you've ever tried to build a redstone machine, I'm sure you've accidentally missed one piece of redstone and then spent probably what felt like hours rewatching and going through the redstone trying to figure out what you missed and why it's not working, just for it to inevitably not work. Lightmaker is a builder's and a redstoner's dream. It allows you to create schematics of builds that you may have built in creative or downloaded a world download from somebody else that you wanted to bring into your world. And then you can effortlessly build and rebuild things in your own world. Before we move on to the next mod, I just want to give you guys a few helpful tips that I was told along the way. If you want a full in-depth guide of this mod, there are some amazing YouTube videos out there that really go into all the nooks and crannies and how to really use this mod. But these are just a few tips that I found really, really useful. So if we start off by pressing M+C, and then we type here in the search menu, easy place toggle. So easy place toggle, basically, if you use your use key, and we'll talk about this one here in a second, if you use your used key, it will automatically use the blocks from your inventory on the schematic. So basically what you do is you just run around using your use key and it will use the blocks from your inventory on the schematic. But if we change the use key to, I've got a button on the side of my mouse, you can still use your right click to maybe place a couple of things, or if you've accidentally misplaced a block, rather than having to turn easy place toggle on and off. So if we turn on the schematic that I've got here, and I'll explain this layer mode here in a second. Sometimes shaders messes with the schematics, so we just turn off shaders and we go to single layer. This is, oh, we've got to turn it on. This is easy place. As you can see, this is 1000 times easier. And say, for example, if it accidentally placed a log there, normally you'd have to turn it off, and then you'd have to break it, and then you'd have to then turn it back on. But as you can see, if you just got it on the side of your mouse, it's a little bit easier. So the other feature that I wanted to tell you guys about was, press N+C again and bring up the config menu. And then if we type up here in layer, so by default it's page up, page down, and then the arrow keys on your keyboard. Basically this then changes it to different layer modes. So my personal favorite is the single layer. So then we can build everything layer by layer. And this is really useful for redstone. Just so that way, you don't miss anything. If you've ever been to a cherry grove, I'm sure you've noticed how enchanting it can be to walk around amongst the falling leaves. And you probably then ask yourself the question, why isn't this part of the normal game? Well, this mod adds this mechanic to absolutely every single tree. As you can see, look at this oak tree, there are some leaves falling off. Mods like this, I feel, should just be a part of the normal game. It increases the atmosphere, increases the immersion, and overall, it just looks cool. As you can probably tell by now, I love the little features. I love little animations. I love stuff that ties the game together, that overall increases the atmosphere and arguably should probably be in the base game. So the next mod I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure you could probably guess by my hotbar, it's called Visuality. This adds visuals in the game that should probably already be in there. For example, little twinkles or shines, things like amethyst and some ores. And, of course, skeletons. When you bop them, can't really see it from here, but they drop little particles, bones, and slimes. When they jump around, they slime. But the main reason why we're in an old growth taiga biome is because of a mod that I recently found that I think this biome specifically shows off it very, very well. And if we just quickly turn the weather to rain, I'm sure you'll very quickly see why and what this mod does. Isn't this incredible? It's called particle rain. It essentially changes the rain and adds this little layer of fog to the ground that I think just, I can't even describe it. It's incredible. Now, if you've been listening closely, you might have heard some slight changes to do with the audio. That's because this next mod completely and utterly changes almost every single sound in the game. The mod is called Sounds, and it really works best when we're messing around with inventories. I'm going to turn up the sound, and I'm going to be quiet because this mod you really, really need to listen for. Like the previous mod Sounds, this mod, Presence Footsteps, is a mod that completely overhauls sounds, but it's all to do with how you sound when you're walking on things. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison walking on all these different things, so you guys can really understand what this mod sounds like. Currently, that is all the vanilla mods that I use. If you wish to check out any of them, there'll be a link in the description, so please head down there if you wish to download any of them. If you enjoyed the video, we are currently streaming almost every single day on Twitch, as we are on a quest to build the most perfect survival world. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.